Hello and welcome to season 4 of Own Your Divine Light Show. Accelerate ascension during times of chaos and pandemic. I am Isla Serona Miller, which is my magical name of Janet, which I'm just stepping into. So I'm using it more and more, and I love that it's something that's been gifted to me, and I am just bringing it to you all now. So we've been going through so much, and it's feeling like things are lifting a little in the US for sure. And the horizon is unknown, but we are meant to create new ways of being. And today's guest has stepped into her true expression of herself through all she is bringing to humanity, through her teachings and her schools that she's created. So I am so excited to welcome Christine Breese. Christine, welcome. So
Hi.
happy to have you here. And I'm going to tell you a little more because I just wanted to say hello. Christine is the founder of the University of Metaphysical Sciences, the Gaia Sagrada Retreat Center in Ecuador, and free retreats for all. And as a workshop facilitator, speaker, author, and healer, Christine offers guidance to those seeking awakening and enlightenment. And she does it in a compassionate and humorous way. And you can find Christine on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and other social media sites. And Christine has many innovative and unique insights into even the most common spiritual practices and topics, and helps people find their own answers by asking the right questions. And I love that. That's a really key thing to say. That says a lot. And you can enjoy Christine's free meditations and her articles and courses online. So welcome, Christine. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. You're lovely. I really enjoy your material and who you
Thank
are.
And you, oh my gosh, what you brought through, Christine, is incredible. I have to say, I mean, this spiritual well of incredible knowledge that that I've learned, I'm uncovering with you is just incredible, and this whole thing that's been going on, with the world since March 2020, we've had many gifts show up, many unexpected gifts show up, working from home, more time with, people have children, your spouse or your partner, or even just for yourself. And, I love how you are committed and passionate about supporting people and realizing about who they are, who their divine nature is. So I want to know, how did you get drawn to this thirst? I know you have this thirst for understanding
Hmm.
this and even the awareness of it.
Of being on a spiritual path.
Yeah,
Do you mean?
yeah, absolutely.
Well, just like everybody, I wanted to get on the spiritual path because I wanted more in life. I wanted to be happier. I wanted to have some money. I wanted to learn how to attract. I wanted to be a better person, not be emotionally suffering anymore. So
Hmm.
I got on the path for the same reason that all of us get on, which is to get something more out of life that's not appearing in the material world uh, easily
Hmm.
or obviously. So we're searching for the deeper things, the unseen forces, and maybe we want some magical powers. I know I got on this spiritual path because I was like, okay, if I could learn to levitate and move things, or uh, astral project and lucid dream and all that stuff, I have to say that was a big enticement.
But that's exciting. That's a great way to start. I mean, really, just for people who don't understand, like that's part of the spiritual way of being, that this is who we are, that we can go to if we're really going to do the work, or really, do the deeper dives. But what was
Mhm.
there, like a tipping point in your life that you said, okay, what was it that happened that made me do this? Nothing particular, just your own
Not
curiosity.
really.
Well,
Like
that's
my
good.
dad said I was always like this.
Oh,
My
wow.
dad said when you were 5 years old, you were asking philosophical questions and ones
Wow.
that we couldn't even answer.
That's
So,
amazing. So you were,
and
go
and I
ahead.
was brought up in a Christian household. So, my parents weren't Christian at first, but then they turned to Christianity, and so I felt like that was a good moral compass. It
Mhm,
taught
mhm,
me morals. It taught me to be a good person, to be kind, and it taught me a lot of the basics. But then what happened was there came a point where I guess there was a point. I became a little bit disillusioned with that path because it just felt like, wait a minute, there's got to be more. This doesn't feel like,
Mhm.
just something was telling me this isn't everything. And so I started studying world of religions. I went into a depression when I was 14, and then I thought, okay, by the time I was 18 or so, I decided, okay, that it's time to start exploring the other religions and see if there's stuff in those that I'm missing.
Mhm. Mhm.
And the Eastern Indian religions were the ones that became most attractive to me with the meditation and the yoga. And then I
Sure.
started practicing, and it unfolded from there.
Mhm. Yeah. Those are magical. I mean, meditation coming to the Western world really opened doors, yoga opened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yoga's mainstream now. Like, you're not hip if you don't do yoga now.
Yeah, I know. It's
So,
so true. But, and like Qigong is big too. People do Qigong
hmm
and they find that
Tai Chi.
incredible.
Hmm.
Yeah. And Tai Chi, all this kind. But yoga is the number one. Yoga is, I did yoga myself and I always found you connect to yourself when you do yoga, don't you? You learn to go a
Yeah.
little more in.
Well, it also gives you something to do while you're in a still space, because a
Uh-huh.
lot of times people are not able to just sit and be in a still space. But the yoga helps you to be doing something while you can still be in a still space. It kind of keeps your mind occupied while you can be in another consciousness.
Mm, I like
And
that.
that's how I always found yoga to work for me, that I could be in a moving meditation, basically.
Yes, yes. That's beautiful because in our today's society, that's probably why yoga works so well because people can't just sit still. We're too busy. We're
Yeah.
too distracted from things in life. So in order to get into it like a sacred space almost, yoga will bring you there, but you're
Mhm.
still doing something, but yet you're in this
Right.
meditation without even realizing how much you're getting from it. Because when you leave, we feel so peaceful. Our body feels
Hmm.
good. I mean, it's like a whole body inside outside job, right?
Hmm. Right.
Yeah.
I agree. That's a good description, inside and outside.
Yeah, I never thought of that. And I used to do yoga all the time. Loved it. Was totally
Me
connected.
too. I don't do it enough now. I never looked better
Of
physically than I
course.
when I was doing hot yoga for a couple of years. Got to get back
Yeah,
into that one.
it's hard on your body. It is hard on your body, though. I will say you got.
Yeah, when I tried to revisit it when I was 45 years old, I think. Um, it was really hard on my body. After 2 months, I couldn't get rid of a headache because I was sweating so much and I was losing too many minerals. So
Mm,
I realized, okay, maybe I got to take a break. Maybe I can't do hot yoga anymore. But I'm going to try again because maybe I'm a little healthier than I was when I was 45.
yeah, I mean, we shift. We go through those things in our life. We're always shifting our bodies every 7 years, right? It's like everything sheds, everything shifts and changes.
Mhm.
So why not? Why not? I think it's
Yeah.
so.
Well, I'm 56 now, so we'll have to see if the hot
Gosh, I
yoga
think
can
you
work.
look like you're about, 30. So to me,
Oh, thank you.
you look amazing. You do. I really, you
You're
do.
making my day.
Good.
Because the
That's
age is coming. I'm like, oh, here it comes.
age doesn't even matter. It's just what you wonder about. I think life, if you're wondering about life and life makes you curious and you're enjoying all that, it keeps you eternally youthful. I think that's the wonder of our life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so too. Happy thoughts. I watched a video. It was a 76-year-old woman, I believe it was 72 or 76 or something, and she looked like she was 20 years old.
Mm,
And a person asked her, "What were your secrets of life? Secrets of youth?" And she said, "Exercise every day for at
mm,
least a half an hour. Um, eat right. Eat
yeah.
from the earth. Don't eat the processed stuff. And happy thoughts." She
Nice.
said the happy
That's,
thoughts is a very big ingredient of this staying useful.
I think that's true. I think that's really true. Yeah.
So I try. I don't always have happy thoughts.
Well, none of us do. We're not, we're human. I don't think we'd be human if we didn't have a few things that got up in the way. But I think, overall, many of us are happy. You look like you're happy because you're in what you love to do. So when you're doing that, that alone just makes your heart kind
That
of,
helps a lot.
yeah.
But I did have to learn how to be happy sweeping floors and cleaning up, you know, throw up in the bars the next morning. I used it as a practice to train to
Sure.
be happy no matter what I was doing. And there was a time when I was really, really poor, and I was lucky if I could raise some money at a rest stop washing windshields or something. That's how dire it got.
Wow.
And I tried to make sure that I found a way to be happy even doing mundane tasks. Even now, when I wash my dishes, I try to pretend I'm God washing the dishes,
That's
and
fantastic.
or God fixing the bed, but or God giving my cat medicine, which my cat always likes to fight about that. But um, or God cleaning the litter box.
I
That's you
love
really
it.
know you got it when you can do that.
Well, we are sparks of God, so why not? I think we are
Yeah,
that's our divinity. This is our divine parts of ourselves, right? That
and
you
trying to enjoy the dream, even if it gets
absolutely.
mundane. I mean, it kind of is really a unique experience in the universe to be physical and have to take care of physical things, even if it's mundane tasks. That's actually there's a lot of souls who can't wait to get here. There's a long waiting line.
Hmm.
So,
That's the truth. That's the truth. And
because it's as solid a dream as it can get. I mean, this is tactile.
I love it. Yeah, the matrix is tactile.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's an astral world. If you really want to know the truth, this is an astral world. It's less than 1% solid matter, 99.6%, I believe it is, empty space. So the science is proving that this is an astral world. It's a dream world. And when you're, all of them are astral worlds. They're all thoughts in the mind of God. They're all
Uh-huh.
imaginings. And but once you're in one of the realities and you have a vehicle for that reality, and you're like, okay, I'm going to agree to all the physical rules of this reality, then suddenly it becomes real, very real and
Mm.
solid experience. And to your dream, though, to your soul, though, this is a 1.5 minute dream, 3 blinks of an eye, and it's over. So we got to enjoy this life one way or
Isn't that
another.
incredible to think of it that way? It is incredible because I know you talk
It's
about
pretty short.
the eternal soul, like you bringing this awareness to people about as they're waking up that, we can live in our bodies, we can live forever. I mean, maybe not in our bodies, but we're living forever. And so you talk about what is eternal forever self and how do we view that and our human selves from, how do we get that from this understanding that we are eternal beings? How do you
Well,
talk?
and after this lifetime, it's like, okay, next adventure.
Yeah, this is a big adventure, isn't it?
You get bragging rights in the universe after you finish this one, though,
I
because
think so. I think we all deserve it. So everyone listening, yes, we are all, what can I say, soldiers of the light or warriors of the light or, just totally, focused on the light to be here because we knew that we had to do
I
this.
think of it as space holders
I
instead of
like that better. I try
warriors,
not to use warrior anymore. I try to
because
do
we're bringing the frequencies here of
uh,
heaven. And right now, there's a lot of health frequencies, and they're really making themselves visible so that humanity can. I mean, in the history books of the future, 1,000 years from now, or even 200 years from now, this is going to be called the Great Awakening.
mhm.
And humanity is going to be like, how could we have ever let all that stuff happen? How could that have even happened? And so this is kind of a moment where humanity really has to look at what it's created, because as a mass consciousness, we created this. Those people in leadership positions who aren't, so much for the well-being of humanity are not there by accident.
Mhm.
And they're a reflection of where the mass consciousness is at. And so we have to change our reflection by changing what's inside of us. And we do that by changing each individual at a time. And then the mass consciousness changes, those things are no longer acceptable. And it's a slow process, but although it's gaining speed, it's like a snowball effect. But there's going to come a time where the leaders really do know that they're in service to humanity, and they really are trying to do the things that are for the best for humanity's well-being, instead of just taking advantage of the positions of power. And but that's our reality right now, and that's where we're at. And I asked the guides, like, why don't you just like fix it? I mean, you can wave your hand over it and it's all over. That's
Yeah.
I mean, if you're all powerful God, why don't you just like fix it? And the answer I got was that humanity is at a point in its evolution where it needs to take responsibility for everything. And that means everything that it creates, starting with their lives, but also at a mass consciousness level. And this is a huge evolutionary step right now that's happening, that humanity, once it reaches past this point of evolution where it takes responsibility for everything it creates, then we're ready for having a utopian world. And just because humanity decides, okay, no more wars, no more economic poverty, no more
Different.
religious divisions, no more any, let's learn how to tolerate our differences, our different cultures, our different ways, the different spiritualities. Let's learn how to tolerate all that and live and let live and work together and solve our conflicts in an adult way. Once humanity reaches that point, which is coming very soon,
Mhm.
probably in our lifetimes, that is coming, where humanity is going to make a choice and say, all right, no more of that. We're going to act like adults now. But it's not so easy. It's going to take us another 1,000 years to really figure out how to get along together and make sure that
Mhm.
everything's
Mhm.
even. And you know, so
It's a slow process, but it's so worth it. I mean, yeah, that's so great how you explain that because, yeah, like you said, we're creators of our reality. So the responsibility, it's very hard for people to even hear that sometimes. Like I didn't even get that until the last few years. It's like all this time I've gotten these spiritual understandings, but I didn't even understand that I was creating my own reality. I mean,
mhm,
you're always blaming everybody else and, oh my
mhm.
gosh, they did it, they did it, well, no, we are the creators and we are the ones who bring it to us. So now we have to be responsible for it. I mean, nobody wants to be responsible either. That's been really rough, kind of. So I think that's what's come to us, hasn't it? That this is the Great Awakening, that we needed to get it, unfortunately, this way, to say that, okay, we've asked for this to come because we needed something stronger. It's like we don't learn easily. We have to learn through the hard ways, I guess, on this.
Humanity's a drama queen.
I like that.
They like to learn the hard way and stuff, not to cry.
True. So true. I love that you said that. I
I
love
mean,
that.
if we look at ourselves, I mean, I've learned a lot of stuff the hard way where I could have done it a lot easier, but
Oh, sure. If you're,
you really are masterful at learning the easy way if you start learning from other people's mistakes and don't have to make them yourself. I'm trying to work on that one.
isn't that great? I mean, I remember my parents saying that to me. Oh, well, I have to teach you this because you don't have to do what I did. And I'm like, but
Mm.
I can't learn it from you because I have to experience it. I even knew then.
It's true. Some things you just can't do it the easy way.
Yeah, there really is very little easy way. I mean, you see someone die from a shotgun, you go, okay, I don't want to hurt. So I don't want to be, I have to be careful if I ever want to, and I'm not against any of that necessarily that you want to, own that. But the point is that you have to be responsible for how you handle it. And you can't just think you have power over someone just because you have that.
Well,
It's,
some people say, well, wait a minute, how could I have been responsible for being raped as a child or
yeah,
abused by an
it's a hard
alcoholic
one.
parent?
It's
How
hard.
could I be responsible for that? And sometimes people get mad at me when I take it there, but it's like when you're ready to stop being a victim, you take responsibility for even that because your soul chose it. And it didn't happen just out of a mishap
Vindictiveness
and
or
an
something.
accident.
Yeah, yeah.
Your soul chose it because everybody has to come in here with a dysfunction. You can't come in here. It's not a vacation planet. It's a work zone. And so everybody has to take on a dysfunction. And at the gates, they're like, all right, what dysfunction are you going to take if you want to be a human? And so you got to say, oh, I'll take depression for 25 or,
Mm,
or I'll take anger for 70 or, I'll take being abused and
yeah.
then you come in and your job is what you're the reason you're allowed to be here is because you are here to help with that particular dysfunction that you took on. That's the price for getting to be a human. It's actually a really desirable reality, actually. I mean, look at the Earth. I mean, it's just so heavenly and it's beautiful. I mean, any aliens coming here would be like, oh my God, this is cool.
Yeah, well, I
and,
understand that
and
Earth
being a
was,
human is cool.
yeah, yeah, Earth was supposed to be, is the garden. It has all of it was the library, right? Earth is the library.
It's a
And
living library. It's
yeah,
it's a biological depository, really. I mean, they seed other planets from this stuff. And this was
exactly.
seeded. This planet was seeded. It was terraformed.
Yeah, absolutely. And, just to understand
Nice
that,
decorating.
and they did a great job. They did a great job. And
Mhm.
we have so much versatility here that you don't have on other planets. And the fact that we even talk about other planets right now is sort of like a new thing for people. But to me, we
Right.
can't be alone. We just can't be alone. And there's different people that talk about it and they've connected with it. And, it's just, I mean, it's just, it's too hard to imagine that we're the only ones here. It would be so boring. I mean,
Well, I've
but
taken an astronomy course recently, and they've been looking for planets like Earth for a long time now, maybe 15 years now. The Kepler mission, when was that? That was when it started. I think it was 2009.
okay.
And they've been looking for Earth-like planets and planets that could support life. They haven't found anything like this. I mean, obviously there's other beings out there, and there are Earth-like planets. I mean, I say probably at the scientific level, but at the astral projection level, I've been there, so I do know that they're there.
Mhm.
And there's actually millions of human civilizations all over the universe, and they're not that close to us. We're kind of in a little corner because
Mhm.
we're part of humanity that got quarantined because we
Yes,
were too
yes,
warlike. And until we work out that warlike aggressive thing, we're
yes.
not going to be allowed to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's why there's these beings who are protecting us from ourselves. They've stopped many a nuclear bomb. They've made it just disappear out of reality. Even the military it says that.
Yeah.
And that but I've been to other human civilizations in my soul journeys where it's actually very utopian, and there's others that are actually worse than this one,
Oh,
even
sure.
more
Hmm.
hellish.
Oh, yeah. I understand that from different people who've even connected with a lot of those galactic. I mean, it's becoming more and more to the point where how can we not imagine that? Plus, we're supposed to have some sort of, disclosure come out this year. Who knows what's going to
Oh,
come out?
they're already doing it, but it's so shadowed by the COVID thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
you can't get it. No one's really looking at it because there's too many distractions in the way. So they could say,
yeah, I
oh,
mean, it's right in the newspapers. They're saying, yeah, UFOs, they're there. Military has these videos.
yeah.
Watch these. I mean, it's there. It's
There's
already, they're
something,
already
yeah,
disclosing it.
they're constantly being shown all over the world.
Hmm.
And people in other world, no, countries seem to show it and they see it. They're more aware of it when they show up. Where
And
here,
those crop circles.
crop circles, yeah, I was always fascinated by crop circles. And are they still showing up? I haven't heard of too many lately.
Yeah, there's not as many lately, but there are. One person described that they saw these little blue lights flying around, and the next day
Yep.
there was a crop circle there. So they use some kind of technology to do it.
Yeah, yeah, and there are always messages. So I wonder what that one is. I'll have to check. Is it in England? Where was it?
Oh, I don't know where the last one was.
Mhm.
There's so many of them.
Yeah,
I don't know. They might just be doing art just to trip us out, like to show us that they're there. I
that
mean,
is true.
I would imagine that aliens have artistic tendencies as well.
Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah, I think so too. But I don't think they do anything that doesn't have meaning though. So I think if they do it, they have a meaning to. I don't. That's just my thinking, but
I don't
that's
know. If I was to paint a painting of, say, some mountains and a sunset, that would have meaning to me, even
yeah.
though it doesn't really serve a purpose for, like, it doesn't wash dishes or clothes, and it doesn't
I see
uh
what you're saying. Yeah.
fix
That.
something, but it has a purpose. So I
Yeah.
do believe art has a purpose, all
Yeah.
types.
I love art. It provides beauty.
And crop circles, I mean, gosh, don't you just feel inspired looking at it, even if there's no particular message? You'd be like, wow, that's pretty.
Yeah, they are beautiful. I remember the first time I ever saw one, I was totally amazed. I mean, I think I went to a movie and to watch the crop circles, they were just talking about it. And I was sitting in the movie with a friend and we're both into the healing work. And the energy from the crop circles was just intense. I could feel it
Wow.
through the screen. It was incredible.
I've never been near one. Wow.
I haven't been near one, but this was just the
Oh, I
photos.
thought you were near one. Okay.
No, I have friends who've been near it. They said it was an indescribable experience. And I wanted to go so bad. That's kind of a bucket list thing that's there. So
Yeah, that actually, I'm going to put that on my bucket list too.
yeah, it's really, really amazing to be part of that. And I have a friend who went to England a few years back, and she said, I'd love to see a crop circle. Next day there was one. It was in England.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was
Do I
so
just have to wish for one? I got a field.
well, there you go. I think if you ask, you'd be surprised what we can manifest today. So there you go. That's a great thought. Yeah, absolutely manifest. So, you say we're part of God, we're source, and that it's within us and not, we're always looking outside of us. So tell us more. How do you find that? How did you see that coming? How did you know that was a truth for you?
Well, what happened for me was I was in a coma for 3 days once. I was doing all this meditation and trying to heal myself and journaling and blah, blah, blah. And I had a rough start in life, and I had a lot to heal, pretty off the charts, actually. Most people don't survive those things. But uh, then there was the death of John Benet Ramsey,
Yeah,
and her face was on every cover. I don't know if anybody, some people who are younger might not remember
I
that
totally remember
story.
her. Yeah, the young little
And she looked just like me when I was a little kid.
yeah,
And it
I was
just,
just gonna say you kind of look a little like her.
aw,
Yeah,
thanks. She was really cute.
she was.
But, I had blonde hair when I was a little kid, the blue eyes, and, that really bright, look. And I kind of was jealous of her because I was like, she got to go and I have to stay and heal all that stuff.
Mm,
But so but anyway, the book just kind of, there were not books, just there was magazine covers everywhere you looked there was a picture of her, going through the airport when I was coming home from somewhere, or a bus station. I don't remember where I was, what I was doing. And I just went uh back to where I was staying, and I laid down and I fell asleep for 3 days
really?
and didn't wake up. And I mean, when I woke up, it was a pretty bad scene. So, you know, cats were starving, and you know, I had peed the bed, and had a massive headache. And when you're in a coma with no kind of anyone monitoring that, it's actually very dangerous. And one yogi told me a long time ago, he said, you were doing spiritual sleep. And I said, what's that? And he said, you were deciding if you were going to stay and come to
Ah,
religion.
wow.
And it was very much like that, because on the other side, during that 3 days, I had like 30, 40 years on the other side. I traveled the universe. I all the way to God, understanding what God is, that this whole thing is happening in God's mind, and
Mhm,
that we are all these little particles of God,
mhm,
including the animals, the plants, the blade of grass, the empty space. It's all God, all of it. The good, the bad, everything in between. It's all God, dreaming and imagining and trying to find out who it is. It's actually trying to find out who it is. And you are part of that journey as this divine being. Like, okay, well, I'm going to ask a what if question. What if my name was? What if my culture was? What if my language was? What if my strengths and weaknesses are? What if my experiences are? And off goes the dream. And you are the answer to that question. Each one of us is the answer to that question. And this is how God finds out who it is and learns about duality. For instance, God is learning about duality and how cause and effect works. It had this idea one day, well, what if there was cause and effect, and there was dark and light, and there was
mhm,
this balancing effect? What if? And okay, let me invent a whole reality around that, and let's check it out. So this is God learning about duality and learning about cause and effect. And we are the expression of that consciousness. God is our consciousness, but we are the expression of that consciousness at an individual level, pretending to be an individual, pretending to be separate from others, so that
mhm,
we can have this back and forth with the good and the bad, and the balancing, and the for instance, karma is not a punishment and reward system. It's an educational system. That's
mhm,
what the balancing is. It's an educational system to help you learn what happens in the land of cause and effect. And then when God's attention is no longer interested in that, says, okay, I pretty much know everything I need to know about cause and effect, uh, the whole thing disappears. Universes worlds can just disappear, dimensions can just disappear if God loses interest. And there are things that God loses interest in. For instance, this earth has two paths. It has a path of utopia in the future, and it has a dark path. And we're all pretty much choosing what path we're going to be on, which version of earth we want to go with. We're all choosing that right now. And because earth has millions of versions of itself, it's not limited to just one version of itself in physical reality. It can have as many versions of itself as it wants. For instance, there's a version of Earth that there was no, the Indians have their own nation. The United States American Indian, Native Americans is the politically correct way to say that. I'm trying to retrain myself because I grew up saying American Indian, Native Americans is the right word.
Yep.
American Indians is what I grew up learning.
Yep.
But
Then
yeah, because Columbus thought he landed in India. That's why you call him India. It's like, come on, guys, like we can move on from that name now because anyway,
that's not who they are. Yeah.
right, it has nothing to do with India. So so there's a version where nuclear power never came into being. There's many versions of Earth. All these places where it took a drastic turn in its history, those are places where a branch off went in the other direction. For instance, when I look on the timeline of Earth on the inner planes, it looks like a bolt of lightning, and there's all these branch offs. And where those branch offs fade out, those are places where God lost interest in the reality. And this dark future, the lost interest in the imagining. And this dark future that is about to become a parallel Earth to the good one that people like us are entering because we're I don't know, trying to be good people. I don't know.
We're
I think
enlightened.
compassion is what
Compassion and love. You've got to live with love and
kindness, harmlessness.
Yes,
That's what qualifies you to be in the good version. But what happens with this dark version is that it fizzles out in about 4,000 years from now.
Really?
And yeah, it fizzles out. But this utopian one, it's one of the main bolts. It's a main bolt. So it's going to go pretty far into the future.
Wow, that's so interesting. I've never heard that. That is such a profound knowing. Wow.
Well, and God is just dreaming and imagining all this and eating popcorn, and being like, "Oh my God, I'm pretty crazy."
Popcorn. I mean, that's been going around quite a bit.
And it has nothing to do with politics.
I know that. I'm just laughing how you said that, and it just cracks me up that you said that.
Yeah. Well, I've been saying that for 20 years now. That God's eating
which
popcorn,
I love it because
watching
and
the
that's a
show.
great way of thinking of creator source energy. Like, how does it work?
It's just observing itself and learning who it is, just the way you look at your life and you observe yourself. This is God observing itself, and how it behaved, how it made mistakes, how it did it well. And I would say that duality, the exploration of duality, still has a long way to go, but we're going to enter the light version of that. Like humanity is going to learn how to not have to do it the hard way all the time.
Yeah. And I've heard that, like when they talk about like fifth density, like I've heard you should say fifth density over fifth dimension, because density is what it is. It's not really a dimension.
Right.
So when you go to fifth density, which is where we're heading, and that's where we choose to, at least, but there's probably higher you can get to, but that's at least the next level. If you, go ahead. Yeah. What's your
I
understanding?
just want to make one correction on this. We're going to the fifth dimension. We're not going anywhere. The fifth dimension is coming here.
That's true.
Into the third dimension.
Good correction. Yeah, I like that. It's so true. We're not leaving the planet. We're creating it here. We're bringing
We're bringing heaven here.
Yeah. We already have it.
We're growing up in 3D. It's still going to be 3D. You're still going to be able to touch a tree and it's solid. You're still going to, although with fifth dimension, you'll be able to pass through the tree if you change your frequency and vibration. But we're going to actually still want to have the solid feeling of things because that's really unique. That's a really unique experience. Like, like, wow, I have weight. In the spirit worlds, we don't experience any of that.
Right, right. And yeah, that's the human experience. That's the beauty of it, isn't it? That's what they miss. Like, yeah, everyone talks
It's
about that.
tripping.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
your soul is tripping on this.
I love that. It's so, that's a great way of looking at it.
It's
That
true.
is,
Your soul's like, oh my God, it's like so thick. It's so heavy. It's so solid. It's like, wow, this is cool. I can
yeah.
touch things and they're there.
Wow. So we can create magic, like you said, when we get into that fifth density, we can create magic in our lives. And that's part of the joy and the fun of what we're meant to do. Like you hear a lot, like, this is a game, look at it as a game. Well, sometimes it's not such a fun game, but it's supposed to be a kind of a game that we're playing. But if you look at it with that kind of lightness, but yet it's not so easy when you're going through things like we're going through right now.
Yeah.
And so how do we create the magic? How do you see it creating even now, like with what's going on? How are you creating? How do you see it creating?
Well, even with what's going on right now, even though you're participating in a mass event, and a mass event, everybody's in it. You can't just not be part of it.
Right.
But you can position yourself in it in a way that makes it so that you're not in the, shall we say, the hard parts of it,
Okay. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
your individual frequencies are going to override the details of the mass event, like the big details, or the big picture of the mass event. Okay, it's here. We got economic this, we got, medical that, we have political this, we have whatever that. And those things are just going to be there, and they're going to be part of the ingredients in what happens for you. But you can actually kind of sneak around in a mass event and have a good life anyway.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, first, I'm going to talk about mm, just affecting your own life instead of the mass event. But then we're going to talk about
Yeah.
affecting the mass event, because
Perfect.
we have far more power than anybody realizes. And the 1% are so afraid that you're going to discover that, because if you do, they are so fired.
That's right.
I
And
mean,
that's
they're
going
so
on.
out of business. and
Yeah.
and we'll get there, but
And that's the whole distraction right now, that they're trying to distract us from that knowing, right?
mhm,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, eh, I'm getting censored. My Facebook page is gone, and there was nothing but inspirational quotes and beautiful pictures and beautiful thoughts. And no matter how much I beg Facebook to give my page back, they still say it's against community standards. So
Well, the standards have dropped.
I guess so. If you're not allowed to
But though I do watch
edit pages
people
and
on
stuff.
YouTube, I do love it. But the fact that they would take that off doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, YouTube just won't let the channel grow for the past like 10 years.
Doesn't
Won't,
make
just
sense.
will not let it grow.
Well, it's almost because you're bringing in like how it is to be a divine being, and that they don't want you to know. It's like
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Well, I mean, I'm not doing anything to get censored on YouTube. I'm not talking about anything
You don't have
controversial.
to.
I'm just
You're
talking
just
about the secrets of the universe and how to manipulate the universe a little
But you're
bit.
bringing to the people the fact that you're a divine being, and that there's beautiful things that you can create in your life, and maybe they
And
don't
they don't
want.
want you to know that.
No, they want you to be miserable and distracted and crying and sad.
It's really sad that, honestly, if we could just get rid of them, we could have a
Well,
great world,
we're
because
working on it. We're working on it
yeah,
right.
we're working on it. Because, like, this one guy was saying, look, it's only 3,000 old rich guys who are really making this whole thing happen. And they're getting all these other people scared enough to do their bidding, because they won't survive. They won't survive if they don't do the bidding. And so it's just like 3,000 old dinosaurs who are kind of making this whole thing happen. When in reality, humanity is good. Really, humanity is good.
I
Just
think
about
so.
everybody on the planet. If you
Absolutely.
really think about it, there's only 5% of the people who are really bad. Most everybody wants everybody to be happy, everybody
I
have
agree.
money, everybody have opportunities and education, and nobody being starving. And I mean, uh, most humans that you meet are actually good. Even if they're a little dysfunctional, it doesn't mean that they're not good.
No,
And that they have good wishes for humanity, and that they want everybody to be happy, including themselves. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, well, anyway, let me get back to the alchemy that you
Yeah,
can do,
let's do the
wizard
good
work,
stuff. We can talk about that stuff. Yeah,
because
that's
this
what
is
no
where
one
you
needs to
really have
hear
the
that.
power.
Yeah, and I appreciate you sharing that because I understand this is what we're seeing, but we need to, what we're here to bring in what the information is to keep you going on your path of divinity and on your ascension work and to get you through this because we have to be grounded in what's going on here because that's how you move up. You have to stay grounded to this because that's the shifting of it, but yet we also can move into our divinity through this purpose, through this work, right?
Right. Well, and
Because there's so
we
much more.
don't have as much power on the physical plane as we have on the inner planes. And what the mass consciousness wants, the consciousness gets,
Hmm.
period. There's
Hmm.
no ifs, ands, or buts about this. This is a universal law. So what we have to do is get to the point where the mass consciousness, and it doesn't necessarily take 51%, but it has to be enough people. And we already have enough people. If you ever heard of the Maharishi effect, it only took the square root of 1% to change all the statistics in a town. This was done back in the 1980s by the Transcendental Meditation Group,
Oh yeah.
where 100 really good meditators were placed in a town of 10,000, and they would meditate for peace and happiness and everybody be doing well for about a week, for 1 week. And they would just do this consistently. All the statistics in every town they did it in would change. There was no emergency room visits. The police didn't have anything to do. Everybody's businesses did better than they've done in a long time. They had like record-breaking financial weeks. And then as soon as they would stop meditating, it would all change back to the original statistics. They even
Wow,
stopped the Lebanon war for a week with this. So
that's
it's not going to take a lot of people. It's actually not necessarily a lot, but it takes really focused people.
yes.
And the square root of 1% of the population is only somewhere between 10 and 12,000 people.
Wow, that's
And
amazing.
we're way above the number. We're
Yeah.
way above what we need. But people don't believe they have the power. They don't actually sit down and say, okay, I'm putting in my 2 cents worth now. Out of 100 cents, I got two. And
And every 2 cents adds up. Hey, I've heard of people who cash in their 1 penny checks and they're billionaires and they're not going to lose. And so those little pennies, they add up. I mean, they make dollars and dollars make $5, $10, and they keep going. So in the percentage
yeah,
wise of soul, beings and frequency, then we're raising the frequency at a higher level that's we can't even imagine because we didn't think we could do it. But when each one of us make that effort, you're absolutely right. It makes such a difference. And we're already there. We're already there. And I know
the
that that's true.
problem is it's not harnessed. That's the problem. Like everybody's not getting together and saying, all right, let's do this together. I mean,
It's
really,
scattered right now.
what's that?
It's scattered.
Yeah, it's kind of scattered. It's like everybody's kind of like over here doing this and that and everything. Whereas if it was like one concerted effort, it would change overnight. But
So how do we do that?
well,
Well,
so
we
we're
do
gonna have to
it.
keep doing the little steps. But I wanted to tell you how to do some alchemy for your personal life in
Okay.
this. First,
Nice.
let's start with that. The way to manifest, everybody's doing. A lot of people are doing it wrong.
Hmm.
Uh, they're acting as if everything's outside of them
Hmm.
and trying to bring it to them.
Hmm.
And instead of realizing that you're actually a commanding spirit, you're a co-creator. And it's not, I don't like to use the word command because it's not really commanding, it's asking. And when I manifest stuff, and I've manifested a lot of stuff, um, I call all the creation material that wants to be part of what I want to create. I'll call the creation material that wants to be part of a school. I'll call the creation material that wants to be part of a retreat center, the creation material that wants to be part of this effort or that. And what happens is certain particles of creation, the raw creation material, and also some that's created because it's already manifested, which creation material is in people, it's in things, it's in places, it's in situations. Creation material is everywhere. And some of it is not manifested yet. You can go into the void and pull unassigned creation material out of it. You can call the raw creation material that's like waiting for an assignment to come into this world. And it
Mm,
does. And they're like charged particles. And what happens when you put your call out saying, okay, I want to create my life work, and this is what I want it to look like, and this is what I want it to be. So I call all the creation material that wants to be part of that to come and join me, and let's create together. And then what happens is there's all this creation material out in the world that hears this and says, huh, ears perk up and says, I want to be part of that. And the creation material that doesn't want to be part of that won't come anywhere near it and won't participate. It'll be like hear another call somewhere else and want to be
mhm,
part of that. So the creation material, if you were to think of it, is sentient energy that's waiting for an assignment, looking for something to be part of. And
mm,
that's what you call to you. This is true alchemy. And I don't use visualizations and affirmations the way most people do, like trying to visualize a house or something or visualize that or whatever. I'll use affirmations, visualizations on healing stuff that I have to do or working on my personality or working on this or that. But I don't use it for getting material things. That actually works less well than just calling the creation material to you.
mm, mhm.
So that's alchemy 101, really,
Okay.
is to redirect how you're trying to bring things into this world. Now, the next thing I want to teach everybody is to uncreate, because uncreating is as important as creating. So you
Mhm,
created something you didn't like. You created a relation that's not good for you. You created a world situation that's not healthy for humanity. What you can do is there's a framework one, which is where the manifestation of that is, or you could switch it to framework two, but then there's framework two where the energy of what is created is there first, because everything started with an idea first. Everything started with a thought. Everything started with this structuring of a concept. And this all happens in framework two. It happens in this underworld, or shall we say underneath physical reality.
mm,
It's like a dimension that's like the template for this reality. It's like the template dimension where in a computer art, sometimes you'll, if you look at like these wireframe versions of the art, and then you like you switch to the wireframe or you switch to the actual art where it's all filled in.
mhm.
You can think of this framework as like the wireframe. The like, for
It's like
instance,
the foundation.
what's that?
We call it the foundation.
Yeah, you could think of it like that, but it's not like under a building, it's the whole thing. And
It's the whole thing. Okay.
yeah, the whole thing is this energy template. For instance, imagine your body at an energy template. For instance, the first layer of your aura is the template. It's about like an eighth of an inch outside of your body. And it actually is like a wireframe. It's like a template for the physical body.
Okay.
And so when you think of this reality, you think of, okay, there's beautiful manifestations that you like and you'd like to see stay here, and there's ones that you don't like and you'd like to see disappear. So what
Mhm,
you can do is you can sneak under framework two and pull the creation material, you pull it out from the dark manifestations. You literally pull the rug out from underneath that creation material, that manifestation of that creation material, and you reassign the creation material that's part of a dark manifestation. You reassign it to something beautiful, because creation matter doesn't care what it makes. Creation
ah,
material
okay.
is not, it's like, I'm just material, you make of me what you will. It's like a
Free
pile of
It's
clay,
free
and then you're
will.
going to make whatever you make out of it.
Wow. How
Creation
interesting.
material doesn't care. It's just, I mean, this whole thing is just a projection machine. It's a machine. It doesn't care what you project. It's there and you can project what you want onto it. That's what consciousness is. It's a projection machine. and all of this, it really has like this very mechanistic way of working. And this is why some people are able to create easily and other people aren't, is because they understand that this is a very fluid and machine. There's just natural laws that they just, that's what they are. And as soon as you learn how to use the natural laws of the
Mhm.
universe, then you look like a magician, you look like you're magical, you look like you're all powerful creator, but all you did was learn how to use the natural laws that are already there.
Wow,
That's
that's
all.
fascinating. I love that you put it. I've
Magic
never
actually
heard.
isn't that magical.
Yeah, wow. I've never heard it put that way. That was so great because it was so well, kind of dissected, and then you just put it back together for us to connect it to, like you kept saying template, and I'm like, okay. So like the blueprint, the template, and you can take the material out and recreate it any way you want. So that's part of our free will. I mean, that's why
I
the
I think this is one reason why YouTube kind of made me disappear. I mean, I'm there, but you'll never find me if you don't know about me.
right. I didn't find
Is
you
because
till I
I'm
looked at
teaching
you.
people this advanced stuff
Boom.
that, you
Exactly.
know, the secret is so elementary. I
Yeah.
mean, and it's
Simple.
not using all the laws of the universe. Like there's the law of attraction. That's one of like hundreds of natural laws. There's a law of grace. There's a law of karma. There's a law of mass events. There's a law of soul agenda. There's a law of, there's like all these physical universe natural laws that are kind of intertwined with all the other dimensions, and people don't know how to use any of those, and so that's why the secret doesn't work, or the law of attraction doesn't work as good as people might. I mean, it works a little, but you
Yeah.
only have one
Yeah.
piece of a very big puzzle, and I'm teaching people these other pieces, and I think that's why, especially when I started teaching people how to pull the material out of the dark manifestations, and that's
Yeah.
why my channel
That's
stopped
very
growing.
interesting. Yeah. I've never heard of that at all. Put that
Yeah, I mean,
really
you
interesting.
don't like a political situation, you don't like a medical situation, you don't like how this reality is, yank that creation material right out of there if you want to. You don't have to put up with that.
That's so true. I mean, oh my
You don't
goodness.
have to put up with it. If you don't like it, if there's enough people who say, this cannot exist in this reality, it goes now. And then it goes. It goes. If there is a mass consciousness that can override the ones that create it. There's only a handful of people that created the dark stuff. Only a
Mhm.
handful, like 3,000 guys. There's way more of us than 3,000 old,
No
you know,
kidding.
old dinosaurs with a bunch of money.
So we've got to do
Who-
this. We've got
And
to do.
all we have to do is do this magical pull the rug right out from under them. And that's why my YouTube channel stopped growing, is after I made that video.
There you go. There's your understanding. So then we
Because
get,
this is alchemy. This is power. This is the power that the mass consciousness has.
so
And
Christine, we've got to do it. We've got to do this.
if the mass consciousness doesn't take this power, it's going down. And I have faith in humanity that even though it's got to get whacked a little bit and beat up somewhat before it'll get this, it'll get it in the end.
So when you say that we can pull the rug out of the dark, is it now, do we have to do like an event that people have to all participate, like that mass meditation?
Well, I have a fantasy of being able to, my plan right before the pandemic was to start doing um these concert tours where we would gather, say, 10,000 people at a time, not necessarily, and just have this big group of light worker musicians who, who we would focus the energy. Like for instance, at a rave, there's all this energy that could be used in the altered states that are just scattered and it's not directed. And what I wanted to do is kind of take that to the next level and create a healing for the individuals and also a healing for the world. And who knows if we could like stop something big, 10,000 people gathered at a time in a stadium or something, focusing on world peace. And I know that there was this Buddhist thing where they had 1 million children meditating for world peace at a certain time and for a couple of days or so or a weekend, and things actually got better in the world. The statistics actually changed while they were doing that.
Well, many people have done these worldwide meditations that they do see changes. I know I can't think of his name right now, but he was called the Pied Piper. Can't think of his name. It's not good right now. I can't think of it. So, but he did create it too. He went over to, I think, the Middle East and
Hmm.
stopped the war there for about 3 days or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's what's called the
It's-
Maharishi effect.
I had not heard
Look
that
it
either.
up, everybody.
And it's amazing what we can do. So, I mean, on Zoom, of course, you can't get 10,000 people. So that's pretty
I
tough.
tried. I can't. I tried to get all these spiritual teachers together, and everybody's ego is kind of in the way. And I
Oh
gotta run.
my
Mm.
goodness. It's hard to
No, I
believe.
gotta run it, and it's like okay.
Seriously? Everybody wants the kudos, huh?
Yeah, everybody's like, well, I'm just gonna do my own then, and they have like 100 people. Then another one has 100 people. Maybe another one has a
But you know,
thousand.
if they did it that way, you could even do it that way. Let everyone have
It
their,
does help.
yeah, but we
It
could
does
all do
help.
it at the same time. Like just get all our people and then just say, okay, let's just synchronize a time that all of us have our people doing it together at the same time. And they've had
There was
worldwide
a
meditation.
place that started doing that called globalpeacemeditation.com. I think
Yeah,
that's
I
what it's
think it
called.
was just not that long ago they did one, I think.
Yeah, I would love to promote them. I mean, I don't know who they are, but what they do is they just say, okay, everybody meditate at this time. And they're usually doing it around 9 o'clock on a Sunday night. And there was one that was kind of early on in the pandemic, and everybody around the world did their meditation at 9 o'clock. So it was sort of like a wave that swept around the world.
Which is wonderful. Because
And so that actually works, that it doesn't all have to be at the same time. Because, like, some people, 9 o'clock p.m. would be 3 a.m. in the morning and they got to go to work, so they can't do it. So it's kind of better to let it be a wave. And if we could, like, do it, all of us in the whole world every night at 9 p.m., it doesn't even have to be long, say 5 minutes or 10 minutes. It doesn't take long to actually do this
wow,
powerful work. You
that's
just
a
have to have a
beautiful
real
thought.
focus.
That's a beautiful thought because I'm
I
thinking,
try to make it happen, but I just don't have enough audience. So,
well,
oh well.
we can just keep gathering people who are willing to do it. Like just do it as a synchronized event. Like
Yeah,
they don't, I mean, they can do it at their time that's 9 p.m. in their zone, their time zone.
I have a fantasy that someday the United States president will announce, all right, everybody start meditating at 9 o'clock p.m. Sunday night, or at 9 o'clock p.m. every night before you go to bed. Just say a prayer for the world. And
Can you imagine how quickly would shift the world? I
oh
mean,
my God, it would be
the United States,
so quick. We
yeah,
wouldn't even know what hit us, how fast it would change. So,
it's so possible if we can just get, egos out of the way and just people just do it. I mean, we just do it. And see, this is interesting that even the spiritual egos get in the way. It's incredible.
yeah.
Nobody's perfect here. But
Well, and the other problem is that everybody's kind of scrambling for crumbs, like I mean, a lot of spiritual teachers are also just scrambling for a living as well. And it's not as glamorous as it seems for some made it rich, but that's pretty rare. The Deepak Chopras and the Eckhart Tolles of the world and the Sadhgurus of the world, they're rare and few between. Most spiritual teachers are just trying to make their mortgage payment too. And so there's like the economy has been structured in such a way that everybody's kind of struggling for the crumbs. It's like there's this banquet on the table and the elite get to sit at the table, and we're all kind of like the puppies jumping up when we see a crumb, and we try to get that, and
that's
everybody's
so
competing with each
interesting.
other to get that crumb.
Wow, that's so interesting. Well,
I mean, that's our
we're
economy
going to
right now.
shift this. We're going to shift this. We're going to have to do some thinking about that because I love this idea of a global event around. Well, I'm thinking of when we used to go to the games in the arenas and everyone would get up and, do the wave. Remember that?
Yeah, I
Even at
mean,
concerts, everyone did the wave. I mean, that was a big deal for the
wouldn't it be
longest time.
cool if, like, at every concert, somebody would say, "All right, everybody, take 5 minutes for world peace in your heart now." Like every
Yeah, I
concert,
mean,
every ball game, every event, every political rally.
yeah, even if it only takes a minute.
Yeah, it
Name
doesn't
it.
have to take
People say,
long.
sit there and touch your heart. a minute is like perfect. And that
Because
was what people did when the wave that
most people can't do it for more than 5 minutes at the most.
exactly. I mean, this is the problem with the cell phone generation, and that we've all become, because
Short
it
attention
doesn't matter
span.
what age you are, because we're all addicted to our phones. We know that. Nobody
I
can
don't
say
know how I lived without it before. I mean, I grew up without internet and cell phones, and I don't think that appeared until I was like 30 years old.
so did I.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and like now I'm like, shoot, how would I ever find anything without Google Maps, you
I
know?
mean, we had to go to encyclopedias. Oh my gosh, what are those to find out world facts? They had to be written and, blah, blah, blah. Now you just go on, Google search.
Yeah, it's the Google Guide.
I go to DuckDuckGo a lot too and go there. They have a lot of good stuff too.
Uh,
That's another good,
I
non,
try to use that one myself because it's not tracked. So,
yeah, it's
although
better.
I'm already pegged probably of
It
the
doesn't matter.
sites I visit.
Pegged is pegged. What is pegged? I mean, everyone's being observed, what are you going to do?
Everybody's being put in a box. Okay, they're in that box. Okay, they're
So
in
what
that
are they going to
box.
do with all that information? And how much are they going to track us all? They're going to go mad. They're going to fall into little pieces. They're going to just crumble.
Too much information.
It's too much information. What are
Well,
they
that's
going to do
why
with
they're already talking about 6G now. They're like saying 5G can't handle it. But
it? They already said 6G is already happening. It's already happening.
oh, really? Oh,
I've heard that.
that's
I heard that yesterday. I heard that. Oh my gosh. So, this is good stuff though, what you're saying, because I mean, we do have ways to do that. So we're going to have to think harder about how to do that. And I'm going to really put my whole thinking cap on about that, because I really love what you said. And
yeah. I
when
keep doing my little thing. I put my world peace meditations on YouTube, and a
there
few
you
hundred people
go.
watch it.
Or
And
you can just put it on your website and people can connect to your
yeah,
website.
I have it on the website too. And
Because if they take it off of Google search or they take it off of YouTube, then no one's going to find it.
oh, I'm not in any searches.
Oh, you're not?
No, no. Well, you could type my name, Christine
I
Breese,
found
and
you with a
it'll
search,
show up
but
at the top of the
DuckDuckGo,
search.
yeah,
But I
DuckDuck.
mean, the world peace meditations won't appear in any searches.
So then you have to send that out. You have to
I'm
send out
not,
like your
I'm
email
not,
or
I'm not
people's
hot enough.
requests. So anyone who's listening, if you want to connect with Christine about her world meditation, she has an email that we're going to post for you at the end of this, that you can connect with that just to get it started. Maybe we're going to start something so that maybe you, like Christine, say, all right, anyone who's got my world meditation, I can bring it out to my group too and say, we can set up a time wherever you
Or that
are.
they can do any world peace meditation that they like. It doesn't matter which one they do.
No, but it would just give them a context. It just puts it in
Mhm.
a context to, have something. I know for me, I like to have something in my hand, gives me a structure. I like structure. I need a little bit of structure to keep me going. So that would,
Guided meditations work for just about everybody. Like for anybody who's having trouble meditating, you know, sitting with no thoughts for half an hour, that's advanced level stuff. That's a person who's been practicing for a long time to do that. So some people try to go straight to like Jedi level meditation right away. The guided meditations are really the way to start. It's like the training wheels that shows you what your consciousness is supposed to do, how it does it, what it's supposed to feel like, how, the guided meditation. I still use guided meditations when I'm just kind of too lazy to direct my meditation.
yeah, I think
And,
it's great. Yeah.
and then when I just want to rest and bask in the light or whatever.
And it's true.
So,
I think that's helpful for people right now, especially with the stress level that everyone's under and all the, confusion that keeps flooding us. And
yeah.
this has been a goal, just to let everybody know. They wanted to confuse us so much that would never know what the truth was. So,
And the division. Yeah. I
and
mean,
we're not
divide and
winning that.
conquer is
And see,
totally in play right now.
and we're talking about what is the truth. And you have to discern your truth. Of course, your truth is your truth. It's all what's the word? Subjective, isn't it? It's all subjective, really, because we are the creators. So we create our reality. So our truth is our creation. And, as long as it brings us peace and we have joy and peace and, our life is flowing for us, then we're doing a good job. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. I agree. I mean, I don't think that constant peace and constant joy and constant bliss or whatever is absolutely required to be say an evolved being, but I think that the say maybe aim for 80% of the time. Like if we give ourselves a little bit of a break, a chance to be human, give it like 20% of the time that you can be in the funk or
Well, you have to have that. I mean, that's part of the duality here. It's part of the grounding to the earth energy too, to be, integrating our shadow, right? It's called that integration of the shadow parts of us. And
and
those,
it's important not to spiritual bypass that.
right. You don't want a spiritual bypass. You got to be careful. Huh.
There's a time for spiritual bypassing. I should make a video about that next. I think I will. About because there's a time when you want to break all your habits. You want to break your emotional bad habits and you want to break the habits of thoughts. So there's a time for when you're actually working on breaking an emotional habit or a thought habit. That's when spiritual bypassing is correct. But spiritual bypassing isn't correct when it's time to actually learn and heal something or work on something. Bypassing it is a bad idea. So that means sometimes you have to be in grief, or you have to be in anger, or you have to be in depression just for the time that it takes to process whatever brought that up. But if it's becomes a habit and it becomes like a way of being all the time, like, okay, now I'm always depressed, or now I'm always angry, or I'm always this, or I'm always that, or afraid, or whatever, that actually needs to be spiritually bypassed.
Okay. I like how you said that. I've never heard it that way. I like that a lot because that makes sense. Because I always say to people, we have to feel our grief, because if we don't, then that becomes disease. I mean, we go back to the basics and that becomes dis-ease in the body, then we can get sick. I mean, that's basically how it works, right? I mean, that's
But
how
then we can fall in these vortexes and not get out of them, and that's when it's not good.
that's a different illusion you're creating for yourself. Yeah.
Or a habit,
Or a
habit
habit. A
way of
habit is an illusion, isn't it?
you could think of it like a desktop pattern. Okay, your computer has a desktop pattern. It's the same picture there, or now they make them change. But anyway, a desktop pattern is the program that's running when no other programs are running. And if your desktop pattern is depression or your desktop pattern is irritation, one time I realized when I'm not even upset about anything, I'm just kind of like in this constant state of irritation. When I realized that, I was like, this is a desktop pattern. I need to change this program. This I need to have a happy desktop pattern and make it so that like my go-to program when nothing's going on is that I'm at peace and maybe I'm in a humorous state. I mean, I try to keep my humor. I try to stay in a humorous state. I can't say I do it 100%. In no way am I claiming to be a master of this, but I'm better at it than when I was 20. Maybe at
Of
56,
course, I think, yeah,
might have
you
learned a thing
grow.
or two,
You
but
grow through learning and you grow through understanding that this is how it works. I mean, the wisdom that you've gained, I mean, you have a metaphysical school. You have, and you also, I was going to talk a little bit about that, but I don't know how much time we have left. But I want to ask you one more thing. It's been a while, huh? I don't even know when we started because we've been chatting and it was so much fun to get to know you. My last question is,
I could talk about this stuff forever if you want
and
to
it's
know.
wonderful because it's you have very, I love your insights because they're so unique and they're new because I haven't heard of the way you're looking at it. It's like, what a great perspective, what a new way of thinking about spiritual bypassing. I never had thought of that like that.
Yeah, a lot of people still think karma is a punishment reward system, and the idea that it's an
Right.
educational system is pretty new to them. And the idea that you could pull creation material out of the dark manifestations and put it in something nice, and it's that easy. Like people just don't even, or call creation material to you rather than going out and trying to draw to you something or with your mind. Rather, you call with your heart. You don't call with your mind. You call with your heart and the creation material hears you. So yeah, I mean, that's like I said, I think this is why I don't get to grow on YouTube, is because some of the ideas are pretty
Advanced. You're
yeah.
because they're so simple and people might think, oh, that sounds too simple, but you know what, that's our problem. We're humans, we complicate everything. And they always say it's so much simpler than we make it. We just make it so complicated. I mean, I've heard that
I
from
do.
so many different people.
I'm guilty too. I've
But
made
look at
my
how
life
much
more
you
complicated
can
than I had
like
to.
synthesize. Yeah, but you got through all that complication, then you could synthesize it to the simplicity that you just brought to us, which I think is amazing. It's really, really clear. And I'm still, we need more of that. We need more to get even deeper into it. But I know you have that in your schools too. So you offer that.
Yeah, we teach a lot of it there.
Yeah, you
And
have, she has, and Christina has
and
a,
people could just take one course if they don't want to take them all and get a degree. Some people just do it for self-enhancement, and it's not about getting a degree. But the
I
degree
think
brings a
that
lot of credibility to people's work. So
sure, sure. But the fact that you could take one course, that's really powerful.
yeah, we
Yeah.
have like a whole store that's right next to the school. So
Perfect, perfect. So there's something
on
people.
on the internet.
So do you have one on the dark matter that you can pull out the creation energy?
I don't. I
All
better
right,
make
there
a
you
course on
go.
that.
That's a
But
good one.
but I do have meditation on dark matter on YouTube, and like
Oh,
I
okay.
think like maybe 200, 300,000 people watched it and did it. So it's been there for like 10 years. And
Wow. You were
I
way ahead
think
of the curve.
I think that's the one that made it so that I can't grow on YouTube now. My channel
Uh-huh.
was growing until then. I got like 50,000 subscribers, but then I've never gotten any more
Yeah, that's why. That's why you can
for
just,
10 years ever since I made that video. So it's a powerful one, and they know it works. If they didn't, if I'm getting kind of stopped because of that,
yeah,
that's a
it's
good
so
sign
true.
that it
They don't
works.
want us to grow. They don't want us to grow. They want to keep us, the kind of the slaves here. I mean, I'll
Yeah,
say
if
that.
anybody wants to experience the dark matter meditation, go to my YouTube channel. It's just Christine Breese.
That's really interesting. I'm gonna check that one out for sure. So
It's kind of fun. I kind of say, okay, now create a tornado and
yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah.
just suck that baby down out of this reality.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I mean, this is what we're capable of, and this is what we're being like kept down from learning. These are all the things that are,
Once humanity learns these advanced Jedi stuff, this stuff in this world is never going to happen again,
I
ever.
can't believe the words you're saying today. I heard someone else talking at some of these words that you're saying today. They said the Jedi power. That's, from the Star Wars, that is a true power. That is a true power that we have, that we're not being told we have. But it's being given to us in a way that we look at it like, oh, isn't that cool? But that's not us. So we look at
Right.
it out there, but not here. It's not here.
Hmm.
It's not part of us. And you're telling us that it is.
The power is inside of us. The divinity is inside of us. It's not out there. This whole thing, I mean, if you meditate deep enough, you're going to find yourself as God dreaming. That's what you're going to
Mm.
find. And I always like to, whenever I write an article or I finish a video, usually I kind of say, okay, 007, secret agent of love. That's what we are. We're 007s, kind of in secret. Because, when you're in the supermarket, you're not talking about your spiritual stuff or like, let's change the world and stuff. You're just buying your groceries. However, as a 007, you're holding your angel wings around people who look like they're depressed in the supermarket, or you kind of just sprinkle sparkles of light on people in
Yeah,
the line while you're watching, or
it's so true.
you
Just
say have a good
smiling.
day to the checkout girl instead of her just saying it to you. And
Exactly, exactly. I
this
totally
is your
agree.
007 work, like your divine work is like just being kind of like a secret master passing out darshan everywhere you go.
Mm,
Darshan is blessing from a master.
I love
And everybody who realizes themselves as a 007 secret agent of love, a 007 piece of God, are the masters that can just bless the world everywhere they go. Just in little ways. Like everybody's like, well, I can't change the world. I don't have a lot of money. I'm just a little old me. I got a whole job. I got a whole
just
raising
baby steps.
kids.
It's all baby steps, huh?
Well, what they don't realize is that there's some battles of the titans going on.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
at the big political levels, the big legal levels, all this big stuff, the big medical levels, those are the battles of the titans. And we can't touch those battles because we're not one of the titans in those battles. But we're titans in our own little part of the world. We're titans in our own universe and the part of the universe that we can touch. I have a book called Choose Yourself, The Power of One to Change the World.
Mm,
And what I'm talking about in that is, okay, let's look at what you can do in the world. What can you change to make the world a better place? What can you reach? Rather than thinking, okay, I got to save the world all by myself, and somebody's got to save the world, and and to also know what battles you should be part of. And I don't use the word battles. I like to use the word challenge, because
Mm,
this is really a challenge more than a battle, because a battle isn't about love. This is a challenge to love, and it's more, rather than a battle to love, it's a
mm,
challenge to love.
mhm,
And so I try to help people realize, you can make somebody's day better. Look at 5 things you can do today to make somebody's day better, and you've changed the world. And that's what you can do. And a lot of people think that they have to have this big outreach, this big audience, write a big book, or do something, have millions of followers to change the world. You don't. You just change what you can reach. Touch the part of the universe that you can reach, and that's your friends and your family and your community. Post little 007 secret agent move things on bulletin boards with a website you think people should visit, or a meditation you think people should do, or like I used to go around and put on bulletin boards just like this link to a meditation, and
that's so
people went
nice.
and listened to it,
Sure.
and you
Wow.
know,
That's brilliant. That's brilliant stuff. And it's so
and no credit whatsoever, no name. You don't have to like be visible being a light bearer. A lot of people are like, I can't be visible because, you know, I'll lose my job if they think I'm like one of those flaky hippie types, you know, or I'll lose my job if somebody thinks I'm a political supporter of this one or that one, or that I support this medical thing or that.
and I've heard
Um,
that happen. That's for sure. Yeah.
it happens, and so do what I do to call it is do a 007 secret agent move.
I love that. That is such a great wisdom. I love that.
Yeah,
So,
well, Jedi, I kind of got stopped from using Jedi because I started using Jedi, and I actually was contacted by a trademark organization that enforces trademark, saying you can't do that.
oh, is that right?
Yeah, you can't use the word Darth Vader. You can't
Oh,
use
because
the
it's
word
Star Wars. Oh, I
Jedi.
guess it's
Yeah.
Star Wars.
So,
Oh, oh, well, that would make sense.
so 007 Secret Agent of Love. But I actually kind of like that better.
Yeah, it sounds more down to earth.
I
Yeah.
hope nobody tells me I can't use 007.
Well, I was just going to say that was also a movie, so who knows? There was a character
But
that
maybe I was old enough that they don't care anymore.
they're not noticing because there's no movies currently out with that anyway. I mean, there's no
Right.
movies anyway, hardly, but I mean, they're on TV if you want to see them, most of them.
Well, and I don't think any trademark people are looking for 007.
True,
So,
true. It's definitely kind of an older way of looking at it, but I like it because it's really, and seven's a powerful number anyway.
yeah, it is. So is 00.
Yeah, I was going to say the whole thing is
It's
a
like the
power.
infinity.
Right, right. Okay, so I got one more question. Well, a couple more, and then we're done. Because I know you've been just so generous, and thank you for all that you've shared. It's been really, really, really wonderful and fun, a lot of fun. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, is there something you have received, because you've told us all this during this time of chaos and pandemic, that you feel has benefited you?
Rest.
Okay.
I was working around the clock, 16 hours a day. Now I can keep it down to 8 hours, which is kind of nice. And even though it was work I love, because it was running retreats, and I was going traveling around the United States and doing free retreats as well. And down in here in Ecuador, I was running 12-day retreats, 7-day retreats, 6-day retreats, and I was doing a lot of ceremonies, and I was getting tired though.
Sure.
Uh,
You're burning out. Yeah.
I wasn't burnt out so much as just tired. I mean, well,
Well,
maybe a little burnout,
your
but I
energy
wasn't
can only go
really.
so far. Yeah.
What's that?
Your energy can only go so far.
Yeah, well, and I was finding that I need to take care of myself more now that I'm getting
Mm.
older. I'm 56 now, and I'm like, oh crap, I can't burn the candle at all 3 ends like I used to
Yeah.
without taking care of myself and resting and sleeping more. I mean, I used to do the whole thing on like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and
So didn't we
uh,
all? Didn't we all do that? But and plus it's important to change. It's change is good.
Although I'm kind of tired of resting now, and I'd like to get back into action now and start
Oh,
going
that's
around doing
fun.
the retreats
Fun.
again, and that'd be nice. But at the same time, I did kind of get used to this resting thing, and I like
It's nice.
it.
I do like the working from home myself very nicely. It's wonderful to connect with the world this way. I mean, I know I like people too. I'm not saying I want to be alone in front of a
There's
screen all
plus
day.
and minuses with it. I
Well,
mean,
yeah, you can get tired of being in front of a screen, but we get to meet each other. You're in Ecuador and I'm here. I don't have to go there to meet you. I love
well,
that.
true. And but we were doing that before. A balance of both, I think, is
But I
necessary.
think people has
Like
really changed that. I think people can stay home now and work from home more than they ever imagined. And they don't
that's a good thing. Yeah, because the 9 to 5 grind, having to drive and the traffic and everything, that
the
that
stress
really sucks.
level. I mean, I think the stress level has gone down for people, which I think is so great. Because look at the earth got healed more from all the lack of stress.
Yeah, did you see the comparison pictures from before the pandemic, before the lockdown of like San Francisco or LA to like after and Beijing?
Not
Like
recently, not recently.
no, no, not recently. Like in April of last year,
Yes, I
or I think
did.
it was
Yes,
May.
I was
It's
seeing
like,
that.
wow.
They had like swans in Venice were, swimming in the canals again, which never had been happening for 100 years or so.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, they had like foxes and deer and everything walking right through the streets. They,
isn't that
there
cool?
was there was a funny Facebook funny I saw once where it was like the people were inside the windows looking out, and the animals were walking around. Like, look at all the people in the boxes. Like going to the zoo to look see the people,
So there, yeah, I love that. I love that.
and all the
So
people were looking out like.
that is so true. That is so true. So how about a message, a nugget or a message you feel people need to hear besides everything else you've told us that is
Hmm.
good right now during these unprecedented changes and chaos going on?
Remember that you're an alchemist, and
Mm,
you are capable of using the natural laws in the universe to create the utopian reality that we all want here, and that it doesn't take everybody. It only takes a few focused people, maybe 10 or 12,000. If we were all really proficient at what we're doing, then it wouldn't really take much.
that's
But since we're not all proficient, okay, throw in another 20,000. We got that
okay.
too.
Sure, sure. Yep, the
We got
more
that.
frequency, the better. That would be so great. That's so great.
My estimate is that there's probably at least 1 billion people in the world right now. I believe 1/6 to 1/7 of the population at this time, right now, is on board with this.
I
It's
think you're
more
right.
than enough.
I think you're right. I got chills when you said that because I've kind of heard a little bit like that. I can remember hearing that like about a month or two ago. That, that it's really the wake up call has been extraordinary. It's
Well, and
extraordinary.
we're getting people who have never thought about meditation or metaphysics or anything going, all right, cowboys like, all right, I want to learn about this meditation stuff now. Yeah,
That is
all
so
right, I heard
funny.
this is pretty good. So,
Well, because it
or
brings
or
them.
the hoodies, like, okay, I got to teach my homies. We got to
I
learn how to do
love
this
it.
meditation stuff.
Love it.
And these
That
are people, or Wall Street people, and these are people who never thought about this stuff before ever. And we're getting these kind of people enrolling in our schools, in our school now, University of Metaphysical Sciences. These people are enrolling who were like, okay, well, I never thought I'd be interested in this, but now I am. So the awakening it's spreading like wildfire. When I look at it on the inner planes, it's it's wildfire.
great. Because everyone's having time to connect back into their hearts, aren't they?
Hmm. Well, and people are having to look at the bigger questions in life now, because now the material world all of a sudden is letting us down. So
Oh,
it's not about pursuing material things now.
so true. So, and it's not about material. Now we're learning that it's not as important as we thought it was. Me too.
That's another gift that I think the pandemic brought up, is like really seeing what's important in life, which is those we love, sharing love, experiencing love, having these adventures in consciousness, and being able to create. I mean, I just think it showed people what's important in life. And a lot of people are like, I was so focused on my job, but gosh, I realized I was missing watching my kids grow up.
Mm.
So
Isn't that the truth? I've heard that too. I've heard that. I mean,
Mhm.
I have a family member who got to stay home with his little one for 4 months, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, that would have never happened," because he would have
Mhm.
been in daycare, and they
Mhm.
closed them. And wow, what a blessing! Got to
Yeah.
be there and learn all what it is to be a dad right there, hand,
Yeah.
hands on. It was so great. It was so, what a great bond that made.
I love this question that you asked. I mean, that's such a good question. I mean, I have to say, I don't know if I thought about what the gifts were of the pandemic. I only thought what was taken away
Exactly,
and
exactly. We all
and
do. We all look at that.
not what was given.
Mm,
And I mean, I guess in the beginning I thought, oh gosh, this would be great. After the first 2 months of like panic treading water to try to save all the business stuff,
yeah.
I had to do a lot of rearranging to make sure things didn't go down the drain, and it could have gone fast. But after that, I was like, oh my gosh, this would be nice. I was kind of jealous of all the people who'd been meditating and doing yoga the whole time. I was working round the clock trying to save the businesses
Yeah.
and people's jobs and stuff. But then I was like, well, okay, maybe we only have one more month. This was kind of in June. I was like, well, there's probably only 1 or 2 more months of this, so I better take advantage of the time to rest. Little did I know that, you know,
It's a
here we
bigger
are
gift.
next summer.
It's a bigger gift than we thought. And look at how good you're, look at how much you're resting and how much you like it now. And you got,
Well, I have to admit, I don't feel like I took advantage of the time as well as I could have. Like finding motivation in it was really hard.
oh, that is true. That is
Like
so
I could
true.
have written 10 books with this amount of time. I could have
But
made
you
a
weren't
thousand
supposed to.
videos.
But you weren't supposed to. We
I
weren't,
have to admit, sometimes I just lazed around and watched the sun go up and down, and
but that's who
I'm
we
like, oh my
are.
God, I wasn't even productive. But
But that's the old way. That's the old mindset.
right.
The old mindset. And now we realize looking at the sun is a gift, and
And that is productive
that is super
because
productive.
it inspires you.
And it brings you peace and bliss and joy in a way that you don't even have to like conjure it up in any special way. It's
Hmm.
wonderful. It's that
Yeah.
magic. Well, there's magic right there.
Yeah. I
That's
agree.
natural magic. That's natural magic that we don't even understand as magic. We don't even know it's magic when when you look at the trees. You go, "Wow, these are gorgeous. How could
I
something
know.
like
Sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I've looked at this tree 1,000 times and I never really saw it
that?"
until now.
Exactly. Now we're looking at things and going, "Wow, I never really looked at that." You know,
Here on the land at Gaia Sagrada, when I started walking around during the pandemic, having time finally to walk an hour a day, when I finally had time to do that, which I didn't while I was running the retreats, I'd be lucky if I could get 15 minutes of, high intensity workout in or whatever. But and plus I was walking around all the time with the retreats, so I did get plenty of exercise. But to just like walk for no other reason but to just walk in nature and not be on my way to somewhere or whatever, um, I actually realized all the foliage of this land grew a lot since the last time I really looked. like
isn't that
like I
wonderful?
mean, when I look back at the pictures of when we got this retreat center, Gaia Sagrada Retreat Center, when we got this 10, 12 years ago, um, everything, none of this stuff was as big as it is now. And I'm like, wow, this place got really lush.
Isn't
We
that
were planting things back then, and yeah,
creating
everything was just
oasis?
like,
Creating your oasis.
and the San Pedro cactuses, they're like 15 feet tall now. They were
Wow.
only like, like this before.
How beautiful. And we didn't talk about Gaia Sagrada. Tell us real quick what that is so that people will have another little insight into what you do.
Yeah, there's University of Metaphysical Sciences, which is the online school. Thank God we had an online business during this lockdown because the retreat center hasn't been able to open since it started. And we're hoping to open in October, crossing fingers if the world doesn't go nuts again. Um, and the Gaia Sagrada Retreat Center is a shamanic retreat center where we give people the medicines like ayahuasca, San Pedro, and they work with the sacred medicines that the shamans of the Andes and of the Andes Mountains in South America, which is the San Pedro, lives in the mountains, and the ayahuasca, which is from the jungles. And it's like 20 years of psychotherapy in 2 weeks or
Wow.
1 week if people want to come in 1 week. the medicines, what therapy, workshops, self-help books, all this stuff can't fix, the medicines can, because the medicines put you in touch with this divine self inside you. It puts you in touch with the master within. It puts you in touch with this God self that has all the answers to all your questions and all your problems, knows exactly what to do about this life and how to heal it. And then after the retreat, after you get all these insights and all this inner journey, and I mean, it's kind of like a cheater's shortcut around 20 years of meditation.
Okay. It's
It's a
okay.
little bit of a cheater's shortcut. I mean, you get to go straight to states of consciousness that could take 10 years to get to with meditation and yoga.
Is it
So, but
harder? Is it harder to do it that way, or is it easier?
I think it's easier, of course,
Okay.
but here's the thing, is like it's not as it's not solidified in your being the way if you did 10 years of meditation and yoga is would do. Like that's how you are now, because what happens is you get all these big insights and all these big directions from divine that's within you. You get all this information and you get all the like aha realizations. Oh, that's why this is like that, or that's why I act like that, or
Mm,
that's why. And you have like these waves of compassion and forgiveness where you just let go of the hurt from the past. And I mean, it works great for trauma and depression and bipolar and all this stuff. It works great for that. I've seen physical miracles, but the real work happens when you have to go back to your life and apply then everything that you learned.
yeah.
That's when the work really begins. So it's sort of like you still got to do that 10 years of meditation and yoga, but it goes a little, you cut the time in half.
Yeah, well, you at least got the
Uh,
answers. You got the answers, and now you know how to. Well, the answers will help you get. Well, you got a path to go on that's quicker to.
well, what a lot of people do is they come back once a year for a reset or to get the next set of instructions from deep within themselves. Because if they hadn't gotten to those levels of meditation where you can actually be outside of your human perspective, they they could use that little booster shot. Okay, give me my next 007 secret agent directions on healing myself and what to do about my life and how to live my life and how to appear in the world.
Wow.
These medicines are powerful. I mean, honestly, when I do the free meditation retreats in the United States, and those are powerful and I'm able to help people, but with the medicines, it's so much easier.
Sure. I
Because
can understand. It sounds very interesting. It sounds
yeah,
amazing.
because the medicines break all the programs. It's
Mm,
like the shamanic medicines, ayahuasca. San Pedro is really the program buster. Like ayahuasca shows you what you need to change, but San Pedro shows you how to change it, gives you the tools for the change, and that's the difference.
wow.
And I personally believe you need both medicines, because a place that only has ayahuasca, they're missing the masculine part of the medicine. Like the ayahuasca is the feminine part of the medicine. It's the inward, kind of like the yin part. And the San Pedro is the masculine medicine, is the mescaline. Ayahuasca is the DMT family of medicines. Peyote is in, or well, peyote too, and San Pedro is in the mescaline family of medicines, and it's the masculine medicine, and it gives you, it's like the yang medicine, and it gives you that outward movement, how to go out into your life and change things and change your life and change how you feel about things. And but I call San Pedro the program buster.
Mm,
Ayahuasca does a lot of program busting, but San Pedro, poof, it's like you can't hold on to a bad program if you tried.
wow. That's powerful to have the two of them balance out like that. That I've never heard of. So that's really nice to hear.
It's like having mother and father on both sides, grandmother and
Right.
grandfather on both sides,
Yeah. Yeah.
light and dark on both sides.
Hmm.
But I don't know, San Pedro, I wouldn't call it dark because it's, or wait, yang is the light one, feminine is the dark. But I wouldn't really call that dark because that's really light too. I mean, I call it the dazzling darkness,
I like it.
because when you go into the void, it's actually this full of raw creation material that you could turn into anything, and that's actually dazzling. I mean, to me, I like sitting in the void. I actually like visiting the void and being in the darkness because there anything is possible.
Mm,
Absolutely anything is possible. And that's why it's so dazzling.
wow. That's powerful. Well, there you go, guys. This was amazing, amazing. So, all right. So we know you have a special gift for the listeners. So, do you think you want
Yeah.
to share that with us now? That would be great. Thanks.
Yeah. There's 4 courses
Mhm.
on our website, Metaphysical Sciences University. There's 4 courses and there's 4 meditations from those courses that you can do. Um, they're free. You can download them. You don't even have to put in your email list, you know. Although maybe I should start collecting some emails, but to increase our email
Absolutely.
list.
Yeah, you will, because that's, everyone will sign up so that you can, connect with them if need to.
I'm a terrible marketer. Like we
Well,
could have
it's
had
not
like
about
half a
marketing. It's
million.
really just to help people out through this time. So, whatever people choose, that's all we're meant to do, is to bring to people whatever they need or what they choose to do. So that we give them the choice. It's up to them. So that is
Yeah,
wonderful. And then I know you have something else, another special offer that they can go deeper into. Uh,
yeah. It's called the Chakras and Auras course. This is a pretty meaty one from University of Metaphysical Sciences. So if you're like really wanting to dive in and see what a course is like, this is it. It's like somewhere in the 50s, but it's really worth it. You get 12 meditations about working with each chakra and including the chakras that aren't taught. You have
mm,
more than 7
oh,
chakras. You have
sure.
actually many more. And you actually and it also teaches you how to see auras. Also teaches you how to work with your aura, teaches you how to clear your chakras and like, kind of explode stuff out that doesn't need to be there anymore. It teaches you how to clear the history of the chakras. It teaches you how to spin them correctly and unspin them and things like that. It teaches you how to. There's a little bit in there with how to see what auras and chakras mean,
Hmm.
but we give these references to these other books that are like textbooks on it that we really recommend. All of our courses have a pretty large bibliography from the source of where all this information comes from, because we use like 20, 30 books for every course,
I
because
can.
we don't want any course to be one person's opinion. We don't want any course to be exclusive to one path or another. We show them all to you, and then you choose what part of that you want to dive deeper into. If you want to go to the bibliography, I think the chakras course is like 50, 60 pages long. I don't know. I don't have all this stuff off the top of my head, but the 12 meditations are all like half-hour meditations, and
Powerful.
it's a pretty good
Oh,
sampling of what our
it
schools like.
sounds wonderful. And it's such an empowering piece. It's an empowering course that you're
People
empowering.
still listen to the meditations years after they've done the
Oh,
courses.
absolutely. Because you're empowering everyone to work on their own chakra system. It keeps their health up. It keeps your whole body, your 4 bodies, the 4 bodies cleared and spinning and humming and being in that beautiful balance. And
Well, the chakras are like the organs of your light body.
mhm,
So, the
nice.
organs of your astral body.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. So that is something for the group, for all of you listening. We're so excited to bring that to you. And thank you, Christine, so much for that. And, I'm going to thank all the listeners for joining us today. This has been a long but a wonderful discussion, because we've gone in so many different little areas, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And this is probably a record.
Oh, really? Oh,
Maybe a
well,
little bit, but I
I
love it.
enjoyed talking to you too.
It was
You're
so much
really,
fun. And I
you
hope,
know a lot. You know a lot, and you're in the time of sharing your wisdom, and people to listen to you because you're an elder too, and you're in a place of, I mean, pretty much over 50. We should listen to everybody who's over 50 because they know a thing or two about life. And I'm not just saying that because I'm 50 now, but
but
56.
it's true. We've
But
experienced things, and we can help others to get through it in an easier. Well, we can't make you help. We can support you through whatever you're going through, because we have tools that we've used that we can give to you to use to clear yourself and to do what you need to do. And you've got huge amount of tools that are so wonderful. I mean, your school's incredible. Just the amount of knowledge in it is huge. So anyone who's interested in taking a course, it is such a good idea. Such a good idea. So I'm going to ask anyone who's watching, please comment. We'd love to hear it. Any feedback, I will be making sure to share it with Christine. And you can always send it to ownyourdivinelight@gmail.com, and that'll be at the bottom. And Christine, I want to thank you so much for all that you brought through. Oh my gosh, you have brought so much wholeness of your beautiful divine self, and all that you owning your divine light. You've brought, you know it, you know who you are. And as a teacher and a mentor for enlightenment that you brought to humanity is just, it's incredible, the information that you're bringing through and all that you're doing. The two different things you do, the retreat center and the school, is so much. And we're so
And the
grateful.
traveling retreats too,
Yeah, it's just,
for the
we're so
people who can't
blessed, so
connect or.
blessed to have someone like you doing this kind of work, which is so powerful and so empowering to everyone, and especially right now. So I am so grateful for you, to have met you, and to bring all that you brought this forward. And thank you again. And I know that we're gonna stay connected. I'd love to come to Ecuador someday.
I'm looking forward to meeting you in person. Meeting you on purpose. I almost said.
Well, there you go. It's never a trip of the tongue, is it? So thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for who you are. You're a lovely, compassionate, wise woman who I'm honored to meet, and I'm really looking forward to knowing you more.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
you keep up with the great work. You're helping a lot of people.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Christine. And I am Isla Serrana Miller, and I will see you all on the next episode.